Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tribe Life's very first podcast, and hopefully first of many. Taz and I really wanted to have a podcast centered around being a parent. So this very first episode is just going to be Taz and I talking with each other. We prepared some questions that the other person didn't know, asked them, and did our best to answer them as truthfully as we could, and had a good, nice, open discussion. If there are other parents out there, I suggest actually giving this a shot. Interviewing your spouse and asking them some real questions and being vulnerable enough to answer truthfully. It was a cool experience. Hopefully in the future, we're going to have more parents on here talking about real struggles they're having, real successes they're having, and just getting some cool stories and seeing what it's like to be a parent all over the world. We're going to be doing some travel this summer, and our goal is going to be to visit as many places as we can, while also talking to as many parents as we can and getting as many perspectives on being a parent as possible. So hopefully you like this episode. If you do, subscribe and look for more episodes coming down the pipe. Enjoy. Once upon a time, there were two boys with blonde hair. They both smelled like farts and ginger ale. Welcome to the Tribe Life podcast, where we interview other parents who have kids of varying ages and talk to them about current struggles they're going through, as well as success stories, as well as just kind of anything that's going on in their daily lives. So the first question we want to talk about was, why the Tribe Life? Why did we choose that as a name for our podcast, or name for our little Instagram account, and kind of the name for our current family adventures? And you actually came up with the idea of calling it that. So what was your...
I guess I just feel like tribe has many meanings. Like in our sense of the word, tribe means our family, but not only our family, like our extended family, and then our extended friends that belong to our tribe. So I just wanted to encompass everyone that's involved in our life with a word that means basically a bunch of people who get together and are unified.
Right. And unified. So I think it was the Seth Godin quote that we used on our Instagram account, where it's like, it's not about the number of people, it's about the connection between them, basically. And it's kind of a similar, I want to say a similar ideology when it comes to how we move through the world and how we value family.
Right.
So we might have different belief structures, we might have different jobs, we might have different priorities, but for the most part, we believe in family being really important, I think that's our idea of our tribe, and anybody who believes that is part of the same tribe. Right.
Well, it's going back to that whole concept of it takes a village to raise a family.
Yeah.
And we by no means are raising this family, just you and I.
No.
It involves many other people, even though a lot of our pictures and things that we portray are just our family. But it's very inclusive of everyone that we're associated with, and that includes,
So let's get into some questions. So we wrote some questions down.
Sorry. My first one's just ridiculous.
Well, it doesn't need to be in any specific order. We can always flip it back.
No, I know.
I have a good one. I have a good one to start it off with.
Oh, do you? Okay.
And this is actually how I've done. I mean, you might have heard it, but I've asked in the podcasts I've done, or the CrossFitters and Cars that I've done. It was basically saying, I asked the person, hey, if you're sitting in a group of kids and everybody's going around the group saying their name and who they are and what they do, like, how do you answer that question in a group of kids?
Like, what do I do for a living?
Yeah. Or what do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah, just how you describe yourself. It's like, what do you do? So like Oaks would answer and be like, I'm Oaks and I go to school and I like soccer. Okay. Whatever it is. Oh,
that was just an intense one to throw on the burner there.
No way! That's like, make it as surface level as you want.
No, it's a good one. It's a good one. I think I would say something like, hi, I'm Taz, and, I look after my family first and foremost, and after that, I help people achieve their goals and their fitness and health.
Okay.
Like, in a nutshell, if it was like an icebreaker thing, that's how I would say it. What is your best childhood memory? Just one. Like,
my best childhood memory?
Like it could be a theme, but
Oh.
The reason I ask is because I'm always watching our kids, and we're always trying to create memories, or we're not intentionally being like we're creating a memory, but we're trying. I think innately we have this thing to try and recreate the things that we did when we were kids because we have such fond memories of them, and so that's sort of, it's intentional, but then obviously when we're in the moment just having fun, we're just having fun.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. I mean, I know what mine are. And just, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think my brain immediately went to relationships with girls. Like,
of course.
Like it went back to like my first like really passionate relationships I've had.
It's like childhood, not like teenage.
That's what I'm saying. When my brain initially went was like with them, and sharing those experiences with them.
That's kind of still how you are now.
Those are some of my best relationships. I mean, those are some of the best things. I think now my memories are centered around like events that happen, and I guess those in a way are events. But if I'm talking like childhood, I think if I really think about it, it's things like water parks, like going to Manteca water slides, or maybe a really cool Christmas morning I can remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember when we met and we had all these memories of our childhood that we connected on?
Yeah.
Do you remember? We used to talk about them like, oh, we used to go to the beach and do that. And they were like, I did the same thing. Yeah. And then we so.
Yeah. Some of the beach ones are my favorite. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We had a lot of those similar memories. What were yours personally?
Mine are like being at the beach or being with friends, like family friends. Like we used to do a lot of just going to friends' houses on the weekends, like with our families, and just spending the day there, like at their pools or whatever, and just playing the whole day.
Oh, at their pools. So fancy. I swam in a ditch.
Oh, yeah.
I swim in puddles. Except for Colin's house. Colin had the pool. So you and I are very different. We're really similar in a lot of ways, like we just talked about with our childhood stuff, but we're also super different with what we prioritize. And specifically, there's something that happens, and this may be not unique to us, but where you ask me to do something, and I fully commit to doing it in the moment, but then I don't do it. And it'll happen and I notice you having to ask me like 3 or 4 times. Like I see that happen, but you don't blow up on me. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just do it. And it's kind of a twofold question. And sometimes you just wait until I end up doing it. One, like, how do you not just like lose your SHIT? Like, how does it not just like boil over into you yelling at me to do it? I'm curious. In your head, like, what do you rationalize? Like, for an example, like you'll ask me, hey, can you put the kid's shirt on? And you'll be doing everything around the house, and hey, can you just put the kid's shirt on? And I'll be like, yes, I will put the kid's shirt on. And in that moment, I really want to put the kid's shirt on. And then like 5 minutes go by, and you come down after doing all the other stuff you've done, and the kids don't have their shirt on yet. Like, what makes it so you don't like snap?
Well, I guess I think I probably did in the past. I think I have gone through periods when it was just us and without the kids. I think I would be like way less tolerant to your, I don't know what, whatever that is.
Right.
And it would really bother me, and I would get really angry and kind of start getting resentful. And in my head, I would like, start thinking, oh, I do everything around here. And then, I don't know, I think we just evolved as people, and we're parents, so getting upset about things like that just doesn't make sense to me anymore. Like, what's really the difference? I know you're going to do it, and I know, and we've had conversations about this in the past too. Like, I've said to you, look, I don't want to be nagging at you, and you're like, oh, I don't mind that. So as soon as you told me that you don't mind if I ask you 3 or 4 times, then I was okay with asking you 3 or 4 times.
Right.
Whereas when I didn't know that you were okay with that, in my head, I sounded like I was just constantly nagging you.
Right.
But I just think it's being like, I'm just like forgiving you for being like that. Like, and sometimes it annoys me if I'm in the heat of the moment and it's like if it's time sensitive, then it's like, yeah, come on, man, like sort it out.
Right.
But if it's not super time sensitive, then I'm like, well, I know he's going to get to it, and I'll just need to ask one more time. And I know that when you realize that you haven't done it, like, I think you punish yourself enough. I don't need to be like, oh, you're an idiot.
Right.
Like,
but that's what you think.
No, I know what's happening. I can see it because I'm watching you while you're not doing it. I like see you walk past the situation 3 or 4 times and you've completely forgotten. Like it's literally just gone out of your brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not, I don't know, it's just not important.
Fair enough. And so how do you then not, this is my second half of the question, how do you not harbor resentment?
Well, sometimes I do.
Okay.
Like I think this morning, but me harboring resentment was just like this morning when I watched you do all this stuff that you weren't doing, and I was putting everyone's shoes on, and you know, Oaks was coming to get picked up. I got a little bit like I get like a little bit of anxiety inside me, and then I say something stupid like you heard me. I was like, well, what were you doing? And you were like, well, I was going to the car, and you know, like I think. And that's about as far as I get with that. And then I have a little outburst and I'm like, oh, I didn't really need... And sometimes I have to stop myself from the outburst. And,
well, so say you have the outburst.
Yeah.
Then what? What is the feeling inside for you?
Then it kind of releases that little anxiety piece of me just saying, what were you doing? And then you say, I was doing X, Y, and Z. And I'll be like, okay, that's fine. Like...
Do you then continue to hold on to it or do you just let it out there?
No, I don't. Not really.
Okay.
I think if I do, I always let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good to know on my side.
But this isn't like you can do whatever you want.
No.
Like...
The idea would be that like, so when you do that and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, of course I see it. And I'm like, damn
Right.
it, I blew it again. So if I apologize then and then make an effort to try to make something happen the next time, like.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. I know that you're trying.
Right.
Like I know that you're continuously trying to be better. Like not just at that little task, but in life.
Right.
So like, if I don't forgive you each time, then it's going to be harder for you to, you know, it's just going to be harder for us to move forward and grow. And also, like I don't want the kids to continuously see us bickering at each other.
Right.
I don't want it because, like, let's say you do that 6 times a day, and I'm like continuously being like, oh, Pat, again, or can you do this? Or, you know, like they hear everything, especially the older one. Like he hears everything, and you know.
On the flip side of that, don't you think like I have to start modeling better proactivity? So like, because our kids get that. So it's like, if I don't model better proactivity and it's constantly you telling me over and over again, they're going to see that that's what it takes to like either be in a relationship or like that's how they should be.
Right. So then maybe like occasionally I should be like, hey, Pat, you need to do it.
Right.
Which I do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't always just do it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what I'm trying to work on. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good enough to answer that question. Okay. What's your next question? Fire away, fire away.
Why don't you like making long-term goals? What are you scared of? And not just writing down the goal, or like you don't like talking about it, right? It's like it's like I'll be like, hey, so next year, and it's almost like if I say anything that's out of like a day or a week, your brain just like freaks out when you don't want to talk about it. Wonder what is that?
I don't know. I think my brain. I'm trying to think of like something in my past that would make it so long-term goals.
Maybe you just never thought about the future. I don't know. Maybe you're so in the moment. You're very in the moment. Like you're very good at living in the moment. Right.
But that makes it so that I don't set long-term goals and accomplish little tasks along the way in order to achieve that. It's more just like take advantage of the opportunity that's in front of me.
Right. And also you have more control about what you're doing in the moment than you do about the future. And do you think it's because you're scared of not like achieving those goals, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know if it's that I'm scared. That I think it might be I'm scared of the work that I know it would take in order to achieve those goals, and setting those timelines, those strict timelines, would not allow me to live in the moment how I want to live. So that's my fear. Right. My fear is that like, hey, I put, here's my 2-year plan. I need to take steps X, Y, Z. Like, let alone setting those steps out because I don't know what those steps are. I know like the general idea and the direction I want to go. And then if I did somehow set those steps up, what if those steps are wrong? And what if by setting these steps up, it prevents me from doing something that I really wanted to do? So I think it really is, it's more of like, I'm afraid that by setting steps up, I'm going to not be able to live in the moment. I think that's what scares me. I even remember if it was like setting a schedule for anything, kind of made me feel that way.
What if there was like extrinsic rewards at the end of each little thing? I wonder if that would help, because you're quite extrinsically motivated, meaning like you are motivated by stuff or like
kind of. I mean, like, think about it this way though. Like I don't like to do something before I need to do it ever. Like in my whole frame of reference, if I don't have to do it, I'm going to choose something in front of me that I have to do or that's pleasurable for me to do.
Right.
So until I have to do it, my brain's like, don't do it. And then once I have to do it, and so I think it's just a matter of training. I lack discipline. And so because of my lack of discipline, it's hard for me to wrap my head around.
Well, I wonder why like I have that discipline and you don't. Like, what do you think the difference is, like us growing up?
Totally, it was us growing up.
No, I know, but I wonder what the difference was. Like,
you were forced to go to 4 a.m. swim classes. I
wasn't forced though. That was my choice.
Was there really an option once your parents signed you up for it? Was there really like, oh, I don't want to go, and then they would be like, okay, you don't have to go? No.
I guess I never remember anyone saying you don't have to go, but right. I don't remember everyone saying you have to go. I mean, maybe sometimes, maybe there was. Maybe I did have to go.
Right.
Maybe I was just so used to doing stuff that I was kind of told.
Right.
That it just created that like
discipline.
Yeah.
I think it's really good to have that discipline. And I think that's the border that we walk as parents, is like teaching discipline and doing stuff just because.
Right.
And on the flip side of it, making it so they have creative expression to like think outside the box and have emotions and not feel okay about doing something, express their feelings why they don't think that they should do it.
Yeah. And I think I didn't have that a lot as a kid.
No, but I had too much of that.
Right. So that's why I think
discipline.
That's why you've taught me more about that, and I've taught you more about being a bit more disciplined.
Yeah, and the positive effect it has on almost everything. Definitely where I'm currently working towards. I
have a question for you.
You have a couple.
Did you ever wear a shell necklace as a teenager?
Never wore the shell necklace.
You didn't?
Never wore the shell necklace.
Because my other question was like, why? What possessed you and like your buddies, like, and like every 12-year-old boy in existence?
12-year-old. It was like 18.
Hang on, no. First off, to dye the tips of your hair like white.
To bleach that?
Yeah. And then to, like, along with that,
I did that.
Wear the shell necklace.
Right.
What like, and like, how did your parents let you do that? Well, I guess, I mean,
I'd let Oaks do whatever he wants.
If it's like even if it's like a total like social, like, suicide.
Yeah, because then you're social suicide? Well, the thing is, you're placing your values and your social structure on a current generation that's doing different things.
Right, totally.
So everyone in those days... I take that back.
Yeah. I would let Oaks do it too. But I would like to then later on in his life remind him of like...
Of course. I have all those footage.
I've seen them. I'm sure I saw you wearing a shell necklace.
No, I never wore the shell necklace.
Okay.
I've wore rings. Wore... a lot of like pop collar, you know what I'm saying? That like collar stage. When you don't grow up in a place, like when you don't grow up with people telling you like this is fashion and like this is what it is, and if you look at fashion is absurd as it stands.
Right, yeah.
Like to think that one's better than another is ridiculous. But there are ones that are classically considered like brochacho, like the hookah shell necklace and the bleach tips. And I think for me back then, I thought it looked awesome. Like I genuinely thought it looked awesome. Same way that I was listening to Chubba Wumba Tump Thumper and was like, this is a great song, you know? And it's just what you're exposed to. And there was the podcast I was listening to was like, there's like gateway things into other, it was talking about music specifically. It's like you start listening to this, which is really generally pleasing to the ear. Then you start to understand the nuance of it, and you can start to layer in more complexity. And that's why you'll see a lot of the time, their musical taste changes over the years of their life. And then as soon as they hit a certain age, stuff that comes up from below is too musically different than what they're used to. So they're never going to hear it as good.
Right.
where so like it was, I think with things like bleach tips or like the hookah shell necklace, it's like you slowly get inoculated into that being cool. So it's like, first thing that happens is you start wearing a polo, and then all of a sudden that polo turns into a pop collar, like it's not just like the jump straight in. You don't look, because it looks ridiculous from outside. But I thought, if you think about growing up, you're always trying. I was always trying to be someone who fit in. I was always trying to like look cool, and like there was kids who looked like that who fit in, and like who I was normally wasn't like, oh, this person's like the cool kid, like what can I do to give me something like the cool kids have? I could wear a hookah shell necklace. If you had to boil down your method for dealing with a tantrum, like an Oaks tantrum, into like a short little paragraph, what would you say it is? Like, so Oaks is throwing a tantrum, blah, 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 blah. What is your thought process, and what do you do?
I guess it depends on what the tantrum's about. But in general...
About watching TV. Yeah, I really want to watch TV.
Oh, if he doesn't get to watch TV.
And then he starts losing his SHIT.
Well, the TV's like, because it's non-negotiable. Like if it's during the week, right? Because we let him watch a little bit of TV on the weekends. So during the week, I have less sympathy than the weekends. So if he throws a tantrum during the week and asks me if he can watch TV, and I say no, and he throws a tantrum, my first thing, regardless of what the tantrum is about, I will always sympathize with him. Even though in my mind I want to strangle his little neck a little bit, the first thing I go to is hearing him and sympathizing with him. So being like, just repeating what he's saying, basically. If he's like, I want to watch TV, I'm like, I know you really want to watch TV, buddy. Like, I'm really sorry that you can't, but I know that you really want. I want to watch TV. Do you really want to? Just like literally repeating what he's saying, but in a genuine way that makes him know that I'm hearing him. He's just being heard. That's all these little tantrums that he does, is he wants to be heard. So I'm just letting him know that he's being heard. And then with the TV, it kind of like it stops there. Like I don't really want to have a conversation about it. There's no like talking about it. He knows why he can't watch TV, so we don't really need to go any further. If it's another tantrum about like something else where he needs to learn a lesson, then I'll either wait till he's calmed down, or I'll ask him. I'll be like, "Are you ready to talk about it now?" And most of the time he'll be like, "Okay," or not. Right. And if he's okay with it, then we'll sit down and talk about it together, and then go from there. But with Oaks, like we've come a long way with his tantrums, because at the start we didn't really know how to deal with them, and now we know that Oaks doesn't deal very well with like confrontation. So if we yell back at him, it's going to go nowhere. Right. But if he knows that he's being heard, he's going to calm down a lot quicker, and then we can take it from there.
I think that the connecting with him is the thing that we learned.
Yes.
Really kind of genuinely hearing what he has to say, even if we totally disagree with it. And then trying to move on from there. Sometimes he's not happy about that, but we still do.
Yeah.
That was the key that I've seen you do many a time. If you could give one piece of advice to you and I when you were pregnant with Oaks, what would that piece of advice be?
I'm sure this is like the same advice any new parent would give, is like, just don't take everything so seriously. Right. But it's so hard because everyone has to go through that first child, you know, like worrying and wondering and putting them on schedules, and a lot of the things that I think we thought Oaks was because I was so rigid with his scheduling.
So you think that the scheduling and doing that was a bad idea?
I don't know if it's a bad idea, but if I just wish someone had told me, like, but even if someone did tell me, that's the thing. That's why I try not to tell new parents to not be so serious, and because everyone has to go through it, Right. It's like kind of like a rite of passage with that first child. You let them, like, you give them some simple advice, like, it could be anything wrong. Try not to sweat the small stuff and just go with it. But like, I try not to give specific advice about like scheduling. I'm like, just do what feels good for you, because people are going to do it the way they want to do it anyway. And I think that's good. I think people should go through that. I think people should try things out themselves and either be miserable for a little while and then change it, and then not be miserable and realize, that didn't work for me, so I'm going to try this, rather than being like, well, someone else did it this way, so I'm going to do it this way, and then it totally doesn't work for them.
Right.
And I think, so to answer your question, I just went full circle. I actually wouldn't tell them, like I just said, to not be so serious about everything.
Them, you mean us?
Us. I wouldn't tell us because, again, like I would have probably just done it anyway, right?
Right.
Because.
So what would you say?
What would I say? I would say that each stage ends. Like, each stage that you're going through is going to end.
Okay.
Because I feel like, especially with Oaks, we were at a very different stage of our lives than we were when we had Arrow. You know, you were going over the hill a lot. I was with Oaks by myself a lot. I had just moved countries. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was trying to work while Oaks was a baby. You know, there was a lot of things going on. And even though after a stage ended, another one would start and it would be different, but it was also just as intense.
Right.
But I felt quite trapped with Oaks, you know, and it wasn't that I didn't love him and that I didn't love being a mother. And it just, I think a lot of new parents go through that where they feel, oh my gosh, what have I done? Like,
right.
This is really hard. This is harder than I thought it was going to be. And I remember feeling that for a long time. And because I'm just kind of like a doer, I just kind of get on with it and do it. People probably didn't even know that I felt that way. You probably didn't even know I felt that way.
No.
You know, but it was really, really hard for me. And I think if I had have known like that there was like an end to each little phase and that there was like a little bit of, oh, when they turn 6 months, you know, like they get a little bit more independent and this happens. Like I think if I had have just had that sort of advice, I would tell myself that each stage ends.
Okay. I like it.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of how we think about anything with the children, you know. Like I think
each stage is going to end.
You know, it's going to end.
Yeah.
Like this, like.
Well, we didn't start that way.
I think
we only saw that once we had a second kid.
Well, and also like, you know, with the traveling and stuff, you know, people are always like, how do you travel with 2 children? Like, well, the traveling's going to end. Like the flight is going to end at some point. You're not going to be stuck on a plane forever with your children. Right. And then the bonus at the end of the plane ride is that you get to spend time in like a different place or whatever.
Right. I think to couple onto that too, like every stage of the kid's growth is going to end and how they do that stuff. So, but any sort of like really negative thing that you build into them will last forever.
Right.
So any interaction that's really negative could be something they hold on forever.
And that couples onto like that stage is going to end. Yeah. It's like,
yeah. So don't be a dick
right.
to your kids.
Right.
Because while every stage ends,
yeah, they
could resent you for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Not don't hold them to a standard. Don't hold them accountable. Not those things, but like don't be a dick to your kids. Mm-hmm. All they know is what you're showing them. Right?
Yes. I agree.
So each stage is going to end. I like it. It's good.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a me and you question. Like, so I always think about like how when I always notice, because you know we're in each other's space a lot. Like we work together, we're with each other a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think at the start of our relationship, you know, sometimes when you moved to New Zealand, like it was like trying times for us because we were in each other's space a lot and we would bicker a lot and we had lots of similarities and we had lots of differences. And then like just continuously being in each other's space, we just ended up being more compatible, I guess, with each other. And I notice, because you kind of forget what your partner brings to your relationship after a while, or you just don't think about it all the time, right?
Right.
And the moments when I think about it are when you aren't in a good mood, because that doesn't happen a lot. Like you're usually very happy and very positive like all the time, and when you're not like that, I notice almost instantly I like morph into that, and I morph into not being in a good mood. And so what I've come to realize is that your like connection with me, with other people, constantly being happy and constantly trying to evolve has really enhanced me as a person and made me try and be happy all the time for the kids, for you, for everyone, and try and make me grow so I can like, you know, keep up with you. Because if I am not like that, then I, you know, don't feel that great about myself. Oh. So that's how you enhance me, is by constantly being happy, I guess. It sounds kind of trivial, but it's very important. So my question was like, how do I enhance you? Like what is it that I do that makes you a better person?
Yeah. First off, thank you.
It's not often I give Pat compliments.
Daz gives
Especially to his face.
She gives me compliments when we're in front of other people, which I guess if there's a better or worse time to give compliments, when we're in front of other people is probably a time that I appreciate more because
Maybe you hear it more when we're with other people.
No way, you say it more. Anyway, like you get all excited about talking about me when we're with other people. You don't talk about me excited when we're together. That makes no sense. Like, why would you do that?
I don't know. Well, maybe it just feels kind of weird.
It does. It would be weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you. But I think you enhance me in a ton of different ways. Like
that wasn't the only way that you enhanced me.
Yeah.
But that was when like a light bulb went off for me. Like, oh my gosh, if he's not happy, I'm not happy. Oh no, he has to be with me for the rest of my life. Otherwise, I'm never going to be happy. Like, those are the things that are going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think you really enhanced me with like focus on getting things done in a lot of ways. And I mean that in a life sense or in a sense of improvement. Like I did not need or want to improve or reflect upon improvement until I met you as like, oh, like I'm not good at so many things. And my perception of self before I was with you and before we had kids was like, no matter what I do, I'm good at. And everything I want to be good at, I'm already good at. And there were so many things that, like organizational skills or like running a business or being a better father or being a better husband or being a better partner, like these things were not things I wanted or cared about being better at because I thought I was good enough at them. And I think you really highlighted for me that there was room for improvement and you gave me that space to, but at the same time, a nudge to be like, hey, you need to be better in order for this relationship to work. And whether it was intentional or not, like there was little things in our conversations or our fights or I mean, we both talk about the time where we realized we were both so stubborn that one of us would need to overcome that stubbornness in order for our relationship to continue working. And it forced me to want to be a better person. Like I wanted to overcome that stubbornness. I wanted to because you represented so much positive in my life and you showed me that like I could do that. Like, so I did, I and then I would say, okay, you know what, I'm wrong or I'm sorry. And immediately you had the presence of mind to be like, you know what, I'm wrong too. And I'm sorry. And you had that ability to relate to me in that way. So I think for me, what you showed me is, and you enhanced my ability to understand myself and improve, and understand that I wasn't as great as I thought I was. And that has been one of the single greatest things for me, to not be incredibly arrogant about everything when I don't even have an understanding of what I'm being arrogant about. And it's like tough love in one sense, but it really wasn't. You did it very compassionately, and you've always been like that. Like in addition to running my entire life, like when
don't make it sound like I'm like.
Let's be honest here. When I met Taz, I had a set of life goals, and within 2 years of knowing you, 3 years of being with you, I had accomplished all my life goals.
Which is ironic because you don't like setting goals, but you set these like life goals.
I had these life goals set because someone told me I had to set life goals, and I had a list, and I had accomplished all of them by like 3 or 4 years into our relationship, and they were all directly related to you. And me, all be accomplished directly related to you.
Yeah, us.
The goals were like own a house, have an awesome wife, have an awesome kid, get paid to do a professional sport, do something I love for a living. Like there was all kinds of stuff, but I accomplished all of them. Stuff that was way outside what I thought would ever be possible for me.
So that was almost like a dream list.
It was a full dream. It was a dream list 100%. And now my dream list is done. Now I have no more dreams.
You're dreamless.
I'm dreamless.
Oh shush! You have so many dreams. If we could turn that whole garage into like a surfboard shop, but they were all your own surfboards.
No way. So like even then, like I those are such surface level dreams. I'm totally dreamless at this point.
Right. Like
big picture stuff, totally dreamless.
Okay.
Except for let's move to Nicaragua. My final one. Are we going to have 3 kids?
Oh man. I don't know. I think I kind of think we are, because I can't my like physical body doesn't stop thinking about it, and then my brain is like, stop thinking about it. It's just a silly idea. Like it's really like a battle with my body, and I think it's like it's obvious it's hormones. Every time it's like near the time in the month, my body's like, oh, you don't ever want to have another kid, and then it's like during ovulation time, I'm like, look at other people with three, oh, that looks kind of cute. Oh, imagine if we had this, and so like until I get rid of that somehow, or maybe it'll just like go away. Maybe after time it'll just go away.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I think why I'm more like leaning towards like, yeah, let's have another kid, because I feel like if I don't feel like we were equipped to have another kid, then I don't think it would be a good idea. You know, like.
But you feel like we're equipped.
Well, right now we are. I'm not saying that we will be in the future. Who knows? It might be like we're equipped now, and then when we actually have the kid, we don't feel equipped. But I feel like right now, if we had a third child, I don't think it would put additional strain on our relationship and our other children's relationship and our family life. Of course, it would be hard. But
it would put additional strain, but not an undue amount of strain.
Yeah, I don't think it would break us.
Right.
You know.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you don't think it would break us.
Well, because I feel like some people don't think of that. They're just like, oh yeah, let's have 3 kids, and you know, and they're having trouble enough as it is with 2 kids.
Right.
But, and don't get me wrong, 2 kids is hard, but I don't know. I'm not answering your question very well. I'm kind of dancing around it.
The thing is, you basically said yes.
I think I basically said yes, but there's still a part of me that doesn't want to have 3 kids because I have to be pregnant again. And I don't really enjoy being pregnant. So, yes.
Yeah, probably have 3 kids.
Okay, good.